Welcome back to the Bike Ride Studio. I'm your host Scott, and today we're getting straight into our review, featuring one of the lightest e-bikes on the market. I'm talking about the Urtopia Carbon Fold 1, which boasts a sleek carbon fiber folding frame and a stated weight of just 29 pounds. I'm going to get this little bike out on the road and put it to the test, bringing you the hard facts on its battery capacity, range, top speed, acceleration, and more. You're going to come along for the ride as we test this bike and chat about its pros and cons. At the end, we'll finish things off with our final score. So if you're low on space, but you want to include an e-bike in your life, stay tuned to learn more about the Urtopia Carbon Fold 1. And hey, don't forget to check out bikeride.com for reviews of Urtopia's full lineup and to see our repair guides, forums, and upcoming cycling events in your area. Also, if you enjoy our content, please leave me a like and make sure that you're subscribed so that you never miss the newest bikes. Founded in 2021, Urtopia's first product was the Carbon 1 e-bike, which we reviewed about a year ago. I'll include links in the description below to both our video review of the Carbon 1 and our full write-up on bikeride.com. In 2022, Urtopia expanded its reach by opening a subsidiary in Berlin. They focus on technology-forward e-bikes and only make carbon fiber e-bikes. Currently, their range comprises the Carbon 1 ST, Carbon Fusion GT, and the Carbon 1 Pro, as well as the Carbon 1 Fold, which we're reviewing today. The Fold 1 is a folding e-bike with a carbon fiber frame. It's a super light design aimed at urban riding and commuting. Both the frame and stem fold, resulting in a tiny, lightweight package that's easy to pick up and a breeze to transport in a vehicle. Urtopia says that the Fold 1 weighs 29 pounds. On my scale, the Carbon Fold 1 clocks in at 35.8, which is nearly 7 pounds more, but it's still very light for an e-bike, especially for one that folds. The Fold 1 is a Class 1 e-bike, with an advertised top speed of 20 miles per hour and no throttle. Oddly, our test bike came configured with a 16 mile per hour top speed, but luckily it was easy to change this in the advanced settings to raise the limit up to 20 miles per hour. Urtopia also could not or would not provide an IPX rating, telling me that they have no IPX rating test on the whole bike, but some parts did. That really wasn't the kind of clear and precise answer that I'd been hoping for. So unfortunately, for now, I don't have an IPX rating for the bike, and I need to recommend against riding it in heavy rain. Urtopia has also opted for a lightweight motor, giving the Fold a 36-volt electrical system with a torque sensor and 250-watt 42 Nm motor. The motor is powered by a 36-volt 7 amp-hour battery, which works out to 252 watt-hours, narrowly meeting my requirement that battery capacity should match motor nominal wattage. The Fold 1 rolls on 18 by 2-inch Kenda tires. As the Fold 1 has no suspension, you're dependent on these tires and any compliance engineered into the carbon fiber frame and fork to absorb those bumps. As befits its name, this bike has a folding frame. However, it's not the usual bulky aluminum frame that we've found on so many folding e-bikes. Thanks to the carbon fiber construction and the fact that the battery is inside the seat post, not the frame, the Fold 1 has an unusually slim and sleek silhouette. I loved the built-in magnetic clasp that keeps the frame closed when folded. This great feature, combined with that lightweight frame, really makes it easier to move the bike when it's folded. The Urtopia Fold 1 is also much easier to lift in and out of a car trunk than much heavier aluminum folders, such as the 65.8-pound Velotric Fold 1 or the 68-pound Engwe L20 that we recently reviewed. Alongside the folding design, the carbon fiber frame's lightweight is a standout feature of this bike. The Fold 1 is both light and easy to pick up and maneuver when it's folded. The slim frame and low weight make it easier to fit into small spaces, like the back of a car. And this frame is visually so much more attractive than the typical bulky aluminum affair. Thanks to that lightweight frame and the 8-speed drivetrain, the Fold 1 is fairly easy to pedal without assistance on level ground. And combined with the relatively slim tires, the Fold 1's low weight makes it agile and responsive, both in terms of handling and its response to pedal input. I enjoyed the 8-speed Shimano Altus drivetrain and the action of the trigger-style shifter, which I prefer very much to something like the TX50. I found that the 11 to 32 tooth cassette and 53 tooth chainring were a pleasant combination on the bike, and they made pedaling comfortable right up to the 20 mph speed limit. As I already mentioned, I found this bike impressively easy to pedal unassisted, at least compared to most of the heavy e-bikes that I typically test. In fact, I ran out of battery during a range test, and I ended up pedaling over 2 miles without motor assistance. It's that practical. Alas, hills are a problem for the Fold 1. The small motor lacks the grunt needed to make ascending hills effortless, and climbing hills also drains the battery quickly. The bike's torque and gearing do make it possible to climb hills slowly, at around 8 or 9 mph, but you have to push hard on the pedals to get enough assistance from the torque sensor, significantly increasing your effort uphill. Also, Urtopia has tuned the motor controller to reduce power when remaining battery falls below 50%, slowing the bike even more when you're climbing hills. So while the Fold 1's results in our hill climb tests aren't the worst we've ever seen, I would not recommend this bike to those who regularly have to tackle multiple hills. The Fold 1 arrived with the assistance capped at 16 mph. With this setting, the torque sensor did not feel responsive to me at all. It felt more like a cadence sensor. Once I'd upped the speed limit to 20 mph, the torque sensor was more responsive, but the motor struggled to get the bike to 20 mph, even on level ground. The bike performed much better when the battery had plenty of charge. When the displayed battery had fallen to 50%, the bike struggled to exceed 16 mph. And when it hit 25%, the bike could hardly top 12 mph. From this point, power slowly dwindled away until there was almost no assistance. When it finally displays a low battery warning, there's actually no power at all. So you're going to want to make sure that you get home before the last battery bar disappears. I hated how weak the motor output was at lower voltages. As the battery charge depleted, I felt like the bike was cheating me out of power in order to artificially extend battery range at the expense of increased effort from my legs. Now, our final con is a lack of info and the warnings included in the manual. The number of warnings that are included in the manual borders on insanity. Here's a list of some of the more surprising warnings that I came across, and that made me question the frame's durability. These are direct quotes from the manual, hence the grammar. The product can only be used on paved roads. In the process of traveling, it is strictly prohibited rapid acceleration, rapid deceleration, and sharp turns. Not excessive leaning forward and backward body is strictly prohibited excessive speed. During riding process, it's forbidden to shake the bike. An example is it's forbidden to stand up and press the center of the body on the handlebars. Do not ride in heavy rain or deep water. Do not release your hands from the handlebar or ride with no hands. Please be careful not to stop the bike with the auxiliary switch on. What does that even mean? On top of this, Urtopia markets this bike as weighing 29 pounds, which doesn't include the battery. The complete bike actually weighs closer to 36 pounds. The Fold 1 is a lightweight, but not as light as it claims, folding e-bike, with a carbon fiber frame, 18-inch wheels, and a 250-watt motor. Urtopia designed the Fold 1 to be light and to have a small overall footprint, making it easy to commute on, transport, and store. The bike is intended for riding in urban environments, only on paved roads, at least according to the user manual. The Fold 1 comes in only one size, which Urtopia says fits riders from 5'1" to 6'1". The riding position is upright, and the handlebar height can't be changed. The sleek and contoured carbon fiber frame has a great refined look. It has no suspension, and it can hold a payload of 220 pounds. Most e-bikes have the battery inside of the frame, or hanging off of it. The Fold 1's battery isn't just located inside the seat post, it actually is the seat post. This reduces the frame's bulk, and it means the battery is removable, unlike some compact folding e-bikes. A cable at the bottom of the seat post connects the battery to the bike, and Urtopia supplies a 2-amp charger, which plugs into the battery just under the saddle. The rear hub motor is a 36-volt, 250-watt model, with 42 Nm of torque. The motor uses a torque sensor to detect input, and there's no option for a throttle. The bike rolls on 18-inch spoked aluminum rims, wearing 2-inch wide Kenda tires. The front wheel uses a quick-release axle. Our test bike was supplied with the fenders and a kickstand. At the moment, these are included with the Fold 1, but they may cost extra in the future. The carbon fiber handlebar is home to Tektro hydraulic brake levers, operating on 2 piston calipers and 160mm brake rotors. The drivetrain is Shimano Altus and an 8-speed, and uses an Altus trigger shifter. You get 170mm crank arms with a 52-tooth chainring up front and an 11 to 32-tooth cassette at the back. A single-sided chain guard helps to keep your clothes clean. The cockpit also features lock-on rubber grips, a color LCD display integrated into the center of the handlebar, and a bell. There is no provision to change the height of the handlebar. The other touch points are Welgo plastic folding pedals and a Velo plush saddle. Compared to the other folders that I've recently tested, the Urtopia Fold 1 is grossly underpowered. Its 250-watt motor isn't a match on the 750-watt and 500-watt motors that are found on other folders with aluminum frames. Therefore, in these tests, I've compared the Fold 1 to bikes with 250-watt and 350-watt motors, and similar torque levels. Surprisingly, the Fold 1 sits smack in the middle of the pack when it comes to our small elevation hill climb. It managed to beat the Fido Air and Velotric T1 ST Plus up this hill, something that I was shocked to see from such a small bike. And I was again surprised by the Carbon Fold 1 in the medium elevation climb test, where it again was in the middle of the group, beating the Fido Air and the Velotric T1 ST again, but falling short of the Seago 600 Pro and the original Urtopia Carbon 1 e-bike. This really is a great result, considering the small 250-watt motor and 42 Nm of torque. The gearing certainly helped the Fold 1 a lot on this test. With a motor output of 42 Nm, I know the specs support smooth power application. I was not surprised by the 9-second time, as the sensor took a moment to catch on to what was going on, and the small motor pushed us up to speed. Any gains that you enjoy from the bike's lightweight and the 8-speed drivetrain are definitely squandered by the small motor and unresponsive torque sensor. I struggled with the bike's battery meter, which has only 4 bars and displays the falling charge in an uneven manner. During the first range test, the battery level fell quickly, reaching the 50% mark after only 7 miles. The bike then ran for another 10 miles before it lost another bar. And after just 2.5 miles more, the battery was dead. With such an erratic decline in battery levels, it's very hard to know how far you can travel on the Fold 1, or when you need to turn around and head for home. This is made worse by the bike having no reserve power. When that last battery bar disappears, that's it. You're on pure pedal power. After adjusting the speed limit to the maximum of 20 miles per hour, I did another range test, which was even shorter. The battery meter was just as unhelpful as it was in the first test. The bike feels like it starts to limit power as soon as you hit 50% of the battery, struggling to maintain 18 miles per hour. Below 25%, the bike won't go faster than 14 miles per hour, even pedaling hard and pedal assist level boost. I was not overly impressed with the Carbon 1's range. The tuning of the bike in the lower assist levels also left me feeling cheated, since it seemed that it would limit the motor's output significantly as soon as you started to use up the battery. Motor output fell markedly at the 75, 50%, and 25% battery levels, and motor assistance was very light. I needed to bump the pedal assist up to boost level to climb any steep hills on my route. In the braking test, the Fold 1 was unimpressive, needing 25.5 feet to stop from 20 miles per hour, which is a very long distance. And it's 10 feet more than some of the best bikes that we've tested. The last bikes to need this far to stop on our tests were the 10Ways Seago 600 Pro and the Ride 1UP Turris. The Fold 1's front light is surprisingly bright given its size, and it managed to illuminate the cone at 100 feet. However, it's nowhere near as bright as our cat-eye reference light on its 1100 lumen setting. The Fold 1's front light is closer to the cat-eye's 400 lumen setting, and it still doesn't illuminate the sides of the road, unlike the cat-eye. The rear light is very powerful, and it appeared almost as bright as the reference light when viewed from 100 feet away. It's a very lightweight unit and easy to move, and this is great for lifting the bike and the lack of bulk compared to many competitors. It makes it much nicer to pedal. Thanks to the Altus's 8-speed drivetrain, you can pedal this bike fairly well without motor assistance. The 53-tooth chainring and 11 to 32-tooth cassette make it easy to pedal up to 20 miles per hour and provide reasonable gearing for climbing hills. The Fold 1 was okay over broken pavement and small bumps, despite having no suspension. The manual states the bike is only intended for riding on paved roads, so any aggressive terrain or off-road riding is beyond its capabilities. The combination of relatively small 18-inch wheels and a tall stem results in some twitchy steering, and I can understand why the manual warns against riding with only one hand on the bars. The handling is fairly good for recreational riding, and I felt comfortable riding it, but I wouldn't want to ride at excessively high speeds or to try any aggressive maneuvers. Urtopia says that the Fold 1 fits riders up to 6 feet 1, and this seems pretty realistic, as I'm 6 feet tall and found the bike comfortable with the seat post fully extended. Because bar height can't be changed, taller riders like me have to lean forward a bit. Smaller riders will likely have a sitting position that's more upright. I could feel some flex in the frame, and the manual explicitly says not to shake or flex the bike. This makes me worry about the longevity of the carbon fiber frame. The small motor is very quiet, and the bike is quiet overall, with some creaks from the frame over bigger bumps and during turns, but no excessive rattling or clunking noises. The Fold 1 has a 2-inch color LCD display integrated into the middle of the handlebar in a portrait orientation. A 4-button control pad is mounted on the left side of the cockpit for operation with your left thumb. The Fold 1 does not have any smart features, and it doesn't connect to the Urtopia app. The battery is located in the seat post, and it's connected to the bike with a flexible cable that plugs into the very bottom of the battery. The battery charging port is located at the top of the seat post, just under the saddle, and it has a rubber cap to protect the port. To remove the battery, reach under the bike, locate the wire leading into the battery, and disconnect this from the battery by pulling down. Then unclamp the seat post and pull the seat post out of the bike fully. Reinstalling the battery is as simple as inserting the seat post and locking it into the bike, then reaching under and plugging the cord back into the battery. Small size doesn't always translate to limited performance, and the Fold 1 from Urtopia is a good example of this, as it surprised me during the hill climb tests. The Fold 1 was the little carbon bike that could. It managed to beat half of the competition, and I also loved how light and easy to pedal and maneuver this bike was. The ride quality is very enjoyable for a folding e-bike, and it also strikes a pleasant pose on the sidewalk, with an eye-catching modern carbon fiber frame. Still, this little e-bike could not ace every test, and it showed its limits with slower acceleration and a limited ability to climb steep inclines. Add to this some strange warnings in the manual and motor and torque sensor tuning that really turned me off, and it all combined to make the Fold 1 a very interesting bike to test. I can see this bike doing well in an urban setting, offering an efficient way to travel shorter distances and accomplish your multimodal commute. If you need to fit into a small space, the Urtopia Carbon 1 is the way to go. What do you think? Do you have a Fold 1 and want to share your experience? Or do you not think folders are worth the extra weight for simple space savings? Let me know down in the comments. And also make sure that you go and check out bikeride.com for great reviews of all the newest e-bikes, bikes, and gear. Plus, we have great local riding events near you, forums, repair guides, and much more. I'm Scott, and I'll catch up with you during the next Bike Ride review. Thanks for tuning in.